Hello, everyone. My name is Muiwa Adedayo, and I want to use this medium to welcome you once again to our online TV station that is popularly referred to as Success Strategies Television. But before I go into today's topic is extremely important to neuro educators and educational neuroscientists because it has to do with the hippocampus and its functions and how this function is maybe maybe demonstrated in the education and learning environment. But before I go deeply into today's topic, as usual, I just want to acknowledge those individuals that have contributed to my understanding of neuroscience and educational neuroscience. There are four Nobel laureates that have contributed widely or largely to my understanding of this very interesting discipline. The first is Professor Eric Kandel. The second is Professor John O'Keefe of University College London. The third and the fourth are also Nobel laureates. Their names are Professor Edvard Mozart and Professor May-Britt Moser. These are Nobel laureates that have largely contributed to my growing understanding of this very, very astonishing field. Then there are some other professors in various institutions that have contributed to who I am today. The first one is Professor Nancy Kanwisha of MIT. The second is Professor Wendy Suzuki of NYU. The third is Professor Sebastian Sung of MIT too. Then another professor who has contributed to my understanding of educational neuroscience and neuroscience too is Professor Chris Kuma of Princeton University. Then finally, Professor Jeff Littman of Harvard University has largely contributed to my understanding. There are others that have also, in one way or the other, contributed to my understanding of educational neuroscience and neuroscience, but because of our time, I will not be able to maybe acknowledge them. But all the same, I'm very, very grateful to these leading lights in the field. So the topic once again is hippocampus. Hippocampus actually got its name from seahorse because it is just like a seahorse. It is an organ in our brains and in other mammals and vertebrates brains that is largely responsible for the encoding of short-term memory. As I'm speaking to you, your hippocampus, especially the neurons in your hippocampus, they are active. They are encoding this data, this fresh information that I am revealing in this video. That is one of the responsibilities or functions of the hippocampus. The hippocampus also plays so many roles. It plays the role of scene kind of construction, spatial navigation, and whenever we encode new information, and during sleep, the information is first and foremost stored as a short-term memory. But when we are asleep, it is the responsibility of the hippocampus to transfer this information to various parts of the cortex, and it stores them as what? As a long-term memory. So we must not forget that the hippocampus makes us who we are. Without the hippocampus, everything that we know, we will not be able to actually either store them or retrieve them. So what is the connection between the hippocampus and educational neuroscience? Without hippocampus, there is no education. Let me repeat it point blank, that without the hippocampus, there is no education. The hippocampus is responsible for the storage and retrieval of every semantic information that the teacher or the lecturer reveals to the students. And apart from the fact that it helps in the encoding of this information, it also helps in memory consolidation. Then thirdly, it whenever the need arises, maybe during the exams, during tests, or during classwork, it is the responsibility of the hippocampus and other brain regions, okay, to help the learner retrieve this data, to help the learner retrieve this kind of stored information. It is also referred to as an engram, or what I call the educational engram. So you can see that the hippocampus is extremely important. There is no learning, there is no memory encoding without the hippocampus. So now, what is the connection between the hippocampus, okay, and education, and the educational neuroscientist, or simply the neuroeducator? Yes, it is important for the neuroeducator to be aware that the hippocampus is one of the key brain organs that supports learning, and that as a competent neuroeducator, it is important, okay, for you not to create a kind of a stress-driven environment, because the neurons in the hippocampus, okay, they're so scared of stress. The hippocampus switches off, okay, in a kind of in a hostile learning environment. So simply stress, okay, renders the hippocampus impotent. So as a competent neuroeducator, it is your responsibility to make sure that you create a kind of a learning environment where the neurons in the hippocampus, they will be active. If they are active, whatever the teacher or the lecturer reveals, okay, those neurons in the hippocampus will help the learner, okay, store this information, and that when the time comes for the learner to retrieve this information, this data, or this engram, okay, the hippocampus will help the student to retrieve it. So do not forget, the hippocampus is one of the major organs in the brain that enhances learning, that supports education. The knowledge of this is going to radically, okay, transform the way we teach in the classroom. So thank you very much, and see you in the next video.